Oh, hi. I'm in my tree fort. You found me. So I'm just doing this really cool technique called frottage. Frottage is a French word, and it basically means kind of doing a rubbing on paper. So what we're doing is we're taking a texture from something. In this case, it's a plant material. We went on a walk and we collected all these really cool textures and different plants with different shapes that might not even be in our own yard. But what happens is when you rub the side of a simple material that you probably have at home onto the piece of paper covering the plant material, you get this really beautiful image, kind of like almost like a ghost-like image of the plant. You could do this with household things such as Legos or any found texture that you can think of. But I love the way nature looks, and so we went on a nature walk, we collected a bunch of stuff, and now I'm ready to show you this technique. Hi, so I'm going to show you the technique of frottage today. And you've gone on your nature walk, you've collected all of your materials, and now you have either a crayon, some oil pastel, or a simple number 2 pencil. Any of these things will work to capture an impression of whatever texture you're trying to gather. The thing that's really important is that if you're using a pastel or a crayon, you have to peel it, which is sort of a pain, I'll be totally honest. And you have to peel the paper off of it because the more surface area you have to play with, the better. So lay your plant material underneath your printer paper. And I'm going to show you a few techniques. Let's start with the oil pastel. I just want to show you how it kind of gathers this texture. So you kind of want to move the direction of the plant and try and not pick up tons of background information, just the actual plant. So I'm rubbing with pretty firm pressure on just this leaf, and you can see how absolutely beautiful this plant is. And I'm just trying to collect every bit of texture that I can find. So let me show you what that same exact thing is like if I just use a crayon. So you can see that I've peeled a little bit of it. Wow, the crayon is getting even more of the information. You can see that you have to change your pressure and the size of the strokes that you're making depending on the material that you're using. This crayon is definitely picking up more information. Now there's a super cool thing that happens if you use crayon, because crayons, as you know, they have wax in them, and wax can be used to make a resist. So that's going to be part 2, part numéro 2 of our frottage activity. We'll be using some watercolor to go over our rubbings to see what we can do afterwards. Okay, and let's just try it with a number 2 pencil, just so we can see what that looks like as an option. Obviously, with a number 2 pencil, you really have to be careful to use it very much on its side. And you're only trying to get the high spots. And you can see that you get this really precise, almost scientific record of your plant. Yeah, I'm getting way more details with this than I even was with either of the other materials. So the finer and the harder the material, like this is lead, so it's harder, so it's capturing like a much finer imprint. So now we have our plant in 3 different textures. And I just want to show you some more plants. So this is a leaf from just a citrus tree. And you can see what happens when I put it underneath. I could make many impressions on the same page, and I want you to think about that. think about composition. Do I want to overlap these things? What if I wanted to do them all in a row? Like, could they be symmetrical? What if they're very neat and orderly and all going in the same direction? Or are they overlapping and looking completely jumbled? Those things are up to you, and those are going to reveal what sort of kind of like an impression you're going to make, what kind of composition you're going to use them for. We'll show you what sort of a piece you're going to make with this piece of paper, because this piece of paper is kind of just the beginning. Because once you have this piece of paper, the question is, what do we do with it? Do we turn this into collage paper for another project? That's kind of what I'm hoping for. So once we've made this, it's kind of like making your own stationery or your own art paper. The question is, what do we do next? So this will show you something that's much more symmetrical, and then here's a version that's much more willy-nilly and random. The thing I'd love to do with plain old white crayons, this is my favorite color crayon. White is my favorite color crayon in the crayon box, because what happens with white is that although you won't know it while you're making your impression, when I use watercolor over this later, even though it looks like absolutely nothing right now, when I watercolor over this, I will get a resist painting, and it'll turn into something really cool. So what I want you to do is I want you to experiment with all the textures you can find. Some are going to be more successful than others. Some are going to be kind of more boring than others, or more simple. Some of them don't have enough texture to really do too much of anything. So like, this is a really simple leaf. Let's just try something super simple. And then you'll notice that the veins that transport the water up the leaf, they might be bigger on one side than on the other. So use the back of the leaf. And let's see what happens when we trace over that. So you see you get a much more clear imprint on the back than you do. Let's see what happens with that same leaf if we do it on the front. It's pretty decent, a little less clear. All right, so I think we're good. I want to see what you can do with this. Have fun, play around, and then when we get back together, I'm going to see what happens when we watercolor over this paper, and then how can we use this paper to create a collage of something else. So kind of pretend that you are making homemade paper out of this. Have fun. Art class is in.